Welcome to episode 40 of the Career Breakthrough Series. I'm your host, Paul Ames, and I just wanted to thank everyone for your continued ongoing support. So if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe, rate and review my show. So if many of us really struggle with understanding the power of media and what it can really do for our personal brand or for our business. So my guest today, Nicole Ashby, is an absolute specialist in this. She's a good friend of mine, and she teaches everybody on this episode how to leverage the incredible power of the media and to really blow up your brand, and how she's actually done that through her previous business, FIFO Families, and how she currently does that with high profit media. So, giving you a bit of a background about Nicole Ashby, she's an award-winning entrepreneur who started her first business, FIFO Families, which later went on to become a globally recognised brand and was very well trusted throughout the world. So she built this brand up on a shoestring budget where she learned how to intelligently market her business to media companies via print, radio and television, so she could have her message and strong value proposition marketed out for her for free by these big companies and targeted networks of people. These people were aligned to her business, who in turn would help become customers and create the platform for FIFO Families to grow. She learnt these amazing strategies and thought to herself, how can I develop a business where I can really help people do this? So, as a result, High Profit Media began. So this is an amazing interview where Nicole shares some amazing insights and strategies and actionable tips where you can really implement into your brand or your business to really explode and grow your brand rapidly. So without further ado, let's get started on the interview. Welcome to another episode of the Career Breakthrough Series. I'm your host, Paul Ames, and if you ever wondered how to leverage the amazing power of the media to generate massive exposure for your business or for your personal brand, then my guest today is really going to help you do that. So my guest today is Nicole Ashby. So she's a good friend of mine, and Nicole actually helps people leverage the power of the media to really get massive traction for their business and increase their profits and bottom line. So Nikki operates her own business called High Profit Media, and I've been through her incredible course, and I'll tell you what, it gets amazing results for getting into the media and really gives you a clear path and direction of how to do that. So Nikki, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you again.
Oh, thank you, Paul, and it's my pleasure to be here. I'm excited. Thank you.
So, Nikki, if you could just give us a bit of a background. I know you used to have a former really successful business called FIFO Families, and that was the beginning to all of your journey. So if you could give us a bit of a background into, hey, what sparked your journey into that and how that led into High Profit Media?
Yeah, sure thing. So back in 2010, I came up with the idea of setting up a company called FIFO, as in Fly In Fly Out Families, and it was all about helping support families around Australia that had, a parent or a partner that was working away. It might be a 2-week away, 1 week off roster, or my husband was doing 4 weeks on, 4 weeks off.
Wow.
And it was really challenging with young kids. I had at the time, my kids were all 4.5 and under, so 3 kids under that age.
Oh, wow.
And it was really tough. And I came to the realization that if it was going to be a problem for me, it was going to be a problem for other people. So I thought I can do something about this. So set up FIFO Families, and we started creating community events across the country. And we started to work with some of the big companies as well. But one of the main pivotal points of success was the media exposure, because, and I've got no media training as such. I'm not a journalist, but being in the right place at the right time and jumping off a topic that was really trending. So FIFO was trending across the country, and being that spokesperson and really being that advocate for the families and the workers to say, this is tough. We need a bit of acknowledgement. We need a little bit of support and guidance to make this a successful lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely. I can completely relate. Obviously, doing FIFO myself for a while, I found it really challenging, and the lifestyle wasn't for me. I found it was quite depressed up there and that. So I think having that support network and building that business is incredible.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it is absolutely crucial to have a strong support network for yourself as the worker, and also for your partner and family at home.
Yeah, definitely. I'd just love to touch on, obviously, High Profit Media. As I said, I've been through your online course, and it's just chock-a-block full of absolute gold. I mean, like I was saying to you, I've only worked through about 3/4 of it. There's that much content in there, and that's such a clear plan of how to execute and get into the media and how to create a press release. Mm-hmm. So for anybody looking to leverage their brand or potentially get some more exposure through the media, what would be some little tips and advice you feel that you could help and offer to them?
Yeah, sure thing. So Probably the starting point is to think big. So what is it about your business? Or if it's a book or an event, what is it that you want? So really have that big picture, but don't get overwhelmed in terms of thinking that you've got to go to 60 Minutes or a current affair off the bat. Yeah. Start small. So it's about, really cutting your teeth. So I always advocate to people, go and start with your local community newspaper group. Definitely. Because that's not a live, camera interview. Yeah. And the local papers are always looking for local content, so that it's a really easy win. And then you might want to step it up to maybe talkback radio, so ABC radio, for example. And once you start to get comfortable, then go out and think about, getting some TV coverage. It's all really easy to do once you know what you're doing and you've got a bit of a plan. So I've got probably, 400 or 500 media interviews under my belt. And when I started, I had no idea what I was doing, had no idea how to deliver a key message or a call to action, had no idea what to do with the traffic then once it came to my website. So once I got, maybe 20 interviews under my belt, I thought, oh, hang on, there's a bit of a pattern here. This plays out, each interview kind of plays out the same way. They ask you the same questions at the intro, and there's opportunity to drop in your brand name and a key message and a call to action. So once I got familiar with that, I thought, gosh, there's a pattern that you can really use to set up your success here. And that's when I thought, ooh, hang on, this could actually be a business, and I could teach people these little media secrets to help grow their brands and their profiles and profits.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so amazing. As I said, I've got amazing results from your course and implementing your advice. I've been featured in, local and international media publications like Perth Now, Sydney Morning Herald, or The Age. Yeah. So it definitely works. And, it's quite a simple process, but, just to be able to craft that message is the key point, like you said, with a call to action. So, and go off trending things, that definitely plays a big part in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And another tip I always have for business owners is, because we can be so ingrained in what we're doing and we're just thinking about our business, but I always say, look, if you're in the car, flick on, I often say ABC Radio Talkback, because they're always talking about issues that could be national or local or global. And if you start to think, oh, is that something I could comment on? Or do I know someone else who could comment? Because once you start to do a bit of a brainstorm and look at a central idea, so if we were looking at, say, childhood obesity, which is something that's been trending over the last week, because there's been a big report on how it's increased astronomically over the last, 15 years. Okay. And then you think, wow, okay, so if we're looking at childhood obesity, who else could comment? What are the media going to talk about when we're talking about childhood obesity? So obviously there's going to be fitness and exercise. There's going to be nutrition. You could be looking at body image, personal styling, psychology.
That's true.
Yeah, so all of these things start to shoot off, and you think, oh, gosh, it's not just one topic. And then the media will call in different people to talk about those aspects, or you can go to the media with your comment on that if you were a psychologist, a nutritionist, a personal stylist. There's a whole range then of people that could comment on that topic. But we need to put our ear to the ground and just take, 5 minutes a day just to see what is trending and is that relevant to our business.
Yeah, definitely. I reckon that's amazing advice, guys. Go back and have a listen to that, because it's a really good thing to do. Really think about, just because there's a certain topic, think about how your business or your brand can actually translate into that. And yeah, that's really good advice, Nikki. So, Nikki, I'd love to touch on your workshops you're doing. I know you've got some incredible work you're doing with them. So say if there was a business owner, who's got some exposure in their business, got a little bit of media exposure, whether they've been in a local paper and, stuff like that, but they want to take it to that next level. They want to take it to, live media, whether that be a TV show or something like that, but their fear and anxiety is overwhelming them. And, I'm sure you went through this when you first started, live interviews. What would be some strategies or some ways to help calm their nerves that you feel have really worked for you with getting in front of that camera or getting in a live interview?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it is really nerve-wracking. I quite often talk about the first time I did on my very first ever radio, and it wasn't even a radio interview as such, it was talkback radio, and I was just on hold and my palms were sweating, my heart was racing, adrenaline was just, running through my body. I was so nervous. I got on air because I wanted to talk to people that were living that were a FIFO family. So I got on air, spoke to the anchor, and got off air, collapsed on the bed, and thought, I didn't even mention FIFO Families.
Oh no!
I can't remember what I said, but I didn't mention my business. And then I thought, oh, hang on. So I emailed the producer and said, look, you might be interested in what I've started. And she said, yes, can you come in for an interview tomorrow in the studio? And that's what kicked off all my ABC interview.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. See, it's that easy.
Yeah.
It's that easy. It's just about, again, listening, getting involved, and then following up, and then the opportunities can open up. But in terms of strategies, so it probably, the first 5 to 10 interviews are going to be a bit gut-wrenching, and that's okay. That's normal because we're doing something new and unfamiliar. So our brain says, retreat, this is not safe, but it is. And it's just a matter of doing more interviews and then building those new neural pathways in the brain so it becomes a new familiar.
Definitely.
But often what I would do is I would just calm myself down, because quite often if it's TV, you'll have the camera person and you'll have a really bright light, and then there'll be the journalist interviewing you in the microphone. Yep. And it can be a bit nerve-wracking, but I would just calm myself and say, I'm just having a conversation with one person. Definitely. So I wouldn't think about the thousands or potentially millions of people that might be tuning in. I'd just bring it back to that one person. Yep. And something else to take comfort in is to know that the media, in my experience, are not going to ask you questions. They're not there to trip you up. They're there to get your expertise and your knowledge. And as business owners, that's what we have. You've got to take comfort that you live and breathe your business, and you know your business and area of expertise intimately, and that's what they're going to ask you about.
That's so true. And I remember, when we were doing the recordings for the Small Business Expo, that was some advice you shared as well in the interview there. And, a lot of people that were coming for their first time podcast interview with me had a lot of nerves. They were really afraid. They didn't know what to expect. And by saying that exact thing that you've just shared, I tell you, that really helped a lot of them. And they came away from the interview saying, that was amazing. I felt so relaxed, so calm after I got into it, just by viewing you and just focusing on you, not worrying about, West TV were filming and all that sort of stuff going on. So that's great advice. And, just by treating it like a conversation, it's the same as what I share with job interviews. People freak out with them thinking, they're going to be grilled, they're going to be torn apart and, ripped up for it, when you're not really. It's just a conversation to see how you fit in. So
absolutely. Yeah, that's what it's all about. And knowing that, keeping that big picture again. So what is the big outcome that you want? And realizing that the media is a beautiful way to fast track that success. Definitely. So definitely jump into the media wherever you can with both feet, and think, they're not going to throw you off guard. They want to know about the expertise you've got, and that's great because we know what we do. And really take comfort in that and go out there and get into the media.
Yeah, so true. That's great advice. So, Nikki, I can imagine you've gone through your share of mental roadblocks or, tough times, whether that be with starting FIFO Families or starting up something so different like high profit media. So what do you think would be some of the biggest mental roadblocks or challenges you've had to overcome, whether that be starting either business, and how do you feel that you successfully overcome them?
Well, I guess starting FIFO Families, I'd never run a business before in my life. I recently completed my secondary school teaching postgraduate degree, and I never thought I was going to run a business, so I didn't know what to do. I actually had no idea. But something again that I would not have done without was my mentor. So I do have a very highly successful mentor who's started several multi-million-dollar businesses, and I made sure that I was in his back pocket. Yep. So he'd walk the path that I wanted to walk several times. So I would take a step and then say, now what do I do? And he'd go, all right, now do A, B, and C. And I'll go away and do A, B, and C. And I go back and say, okay, I've done that. Now what do I do? So I think if I didn't have him, I certainly wouldn't have the success that I've had today. And I think you've also got to look at the alternative, that because it's so challenging running your own business and putting yourself out there. Definitely. I was having a conversation with my mentor just a couple of days ago, and I said, it's really tough, and the amount of times that you think, gosh, I might go on Seek and just have a look at some of the jobs and think, wow, is it time to go back to the system as such? And then you think, well, but what's the alternative? It's going to work for somebody else that, controls your hours, controls what you do, and when you do it. And yes, you get the pay packet at the end, but as a business owner, you get to decide all of that for yourself.
Yep.
which is really powerful if you want to do that. But it is hard work. But that's, I guess, what drives me in those moments where I think, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Is this the best option for my family and I just think, well, what's the alternative? And also, what am I modeling to my 3 kids as well?
That's so true. Yeah, that's great advice. So, Nikki, I'd love to find out, we've all got our really positive trait and really habit that's helped us achieve that success we've got in our life. We've also got a really hindering habit. What do you feel would be your most positive habit, and what would be your most hindering habit that's held you back?
Wow, Paul. My most positive, I think probably that I'm quite driven and motivated. So I've never been, when I was at high school, I was never one of those people, or at uni, that would stay up really late. I don't like that that final pressure. I'm not cram it in the last minute. I've always, I guess I'm a bit of a forward planner, and while I still have stress, I don't like to leave things to the last minute. So that's probably one of my positive things, is that I don't leave it to the last minute. I'm pretty organised and driven and motivated. That's one of the negative things. I guess probably that I'm quite stubborn on the flip side of that. I can be quite stubborn in my thinking and my expectations. And that can be something I think that definitely bites me in the bum sometimes.
Yep. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate the honesty. And it can always be a hard one to realize. I think my biggest one would definitely be procrastination. Like, I tend to just procrastinate on too many things. And I think drive and determination is definitely a big positive. Like, it's funny, like, as you said, I'd never dreamed of starting a business as well, or never thought this would be the path for me. But it's like when I hit 30, something switched in my head, something just flicked in my head, and then suddenly I went, you know what? I want more than just working for somebody else. I want to do something bigger. I want to work for myself and, make an impact in the world. It's really funny, like some of the things that change in your head, and, your needs and your values and wants change over time.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Values are always changing, which is a beautiful thing. And when you have kids as well, that changes your perspective and your priorities, and you kind of sit back and think, well, what do I want for me? And what do I want for the family? So, yeah.
Definitely. Now, Nikki, I've got just to throw it in the mix, I've got another random question I ask all of my guests on the show. So it's called the miracle question. You probably heard it from the other interviews. So imagine you went to sleep tonight and overnight a miracle had occurred. When you woke up the next morning, everything you ever wanted or any impact you ever wanted to make in the world had come true. There were no financial roadblocks and no mental roadblocks holding you back. What would be the biggest impact you'd want to make on the world, and why would it be so important to you?
Ooh. I was wondering which one of these tricky questions you were going to ask. I think the biggest impact that I would like to leave would be to lead by example, that you can do anything that you set your mind out to do, particularly as a female, particularly with all this stuff in the media at the moment with Harvey
Weinstein.
Yes. And, it's just so clear to me that as a female, there's so much extra that we have to go through in life. And that's really being spoken about at the moment and highlighted. So definitely. I guess for me, it would be really about showing women that you can do anything, and you can be a mum, and you can still, work or run your own business, or, do whatever it is that you want to do. You've got the power within you to do anything that you want to do. And I think that's, if I could inspire other women and men, excuse me, to look within and say, well, this is really what I want to do, and I'm going to go and chase that, and nothing has to hold me back. And yes, I'm going to be scared, but if you've got that support around you, if it's a mentor or your family or, close friends, and knowing that, okay, it's not going to be easy, but I'm going to give it a go and get there, because I also believe that there's no failure. Yep. It's all learning. So whatever experience you go through, and it might be deemed as failure, I don't see it as failure. It's an experience, and it's something you learn from. You'll get results. You can put that through your feedback mechanism and go, right, what do I need to change to do it again and get the result that I want? So keep striving. So I think that would be it, is just get out there and give it a go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. What a great response, and you should be so proud of yourself for the incredible business, and that all of this is obviously instilled in you, and the amazing testament of your values and your beliefs. So yeah, you should be proud of what you've achieved, Nikki. It's absolutely amazing, and the work that you're doing. So
thank you, thanks, Paul. Appreciate that.
So, Nikki, we're just getting ready to wrap up soon, but what would be some parting advice you'd love to share with my audience that you feel has really benefited you in your life, that whether that be in your business or, working in your careers or just from general learnings?
Woohoo! Gosh, where do I start? I think as a business owner, especially if you're like you and me, who never really thought they'd be a business owner, is to really get someone that you can sit in their back pocket, someone that has walked that path of success. So you've got someone to bounce ideas off and to ask questions, and they can just hold up that yellow flag and say, are you sure you want to go down that route? Maybe have a look at this one. I think that's been absolutely key to my success. And connecting with like-minded people as well. So if all of your friends are in the system as such, or, they're not running their own business or doing entrepreneurial things, maybe they're not going to understand you or support you as much as you'd like. So make sure that you are hanging out with people, you are in that space. And I'm not saying, ditch your friends, but just make sure that you do get into a network that can support you and that where other people are on that similar journey, because it's rough. It can be really tough going being a business owner or an entrepreneur. So make sure you've got that support around you, because that will really help guide you and really help you get to that success faster than you ever thought possible.
Yeah, that's great advice. And yeah, I've definitely done that. Definitely surrounded myself with, more like-minded people. And I mean, I think it's hard with even your family. They don't really understand what you're going through, what you're trying to achieve. I always remember when I first started my business, or came up with the idea of wanting to start my career counselling business, coming from like all manual labor sort of a background and mining and that sort of thing. All my family were like, "Oh, what do you want to do that for? It's so different. You're not going to succeed, blah, 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 blah." And you're just like, well, that this is for you. It is so different, but I just felt like drawn to it, and I felt that this is the right path for me. And now that they're seeing that I'm doing well with my podcast and business is growing and things like that, they're just like, oh wow, so yeah, that's good to see everything's going well, or good to see that you're really loving what you're doing. So yeah, it's funny. Like I know I rabbit on about this all the time, but influence of others is so powerful in stopping you and not listening to that. Take on board listen to what people say, but don't use it as like gospel. Don't just take everything that they say to heart. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And that reminds me of when you were talking there, about family and friends. And I used to be in retail management, and I had this. I used to manage a Rivers store, and this guy came in to the shop, and I was serving him and what have you. And then I realised he was actually starting to headhunt and ask me questions.
Oh.
And he said, "Oh, look, would you be interested in an interview for a job? We're in town from Melbourne for a couple of days, and we're talking to people, but we think we'd really like to interview." And I said, "Yeah, sure, cool." And I rang my mum. I said, "Oh, Mum, I've been headhunted to be interviewed for this position for a state manager for a corporate uniform company."
Wow.
And my mum knew of this company because she used their uniforms, and immediately she sort of said to me, do you think you've got the qualifications? Something like that. But it made me think, she thought it was too big for me. She thought, that's out of your league. And immediately I was like, I'm going to go for this job. I was so shocked. I'm like, Mum,
yeah, because the encouragement, Mum.
Yeah, exactly. Starting a podcast. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You think, no, I can do this. So I went for the job, and I got it, and did that, I think, for probably the next sort of 2 or 3 years. But yeah, you've got to have that instilled sense of belief within you. But then when people knock you, you've still got to go back to that, and really listen to your heart. Is this what I want to do? Yep. And if it is, do it. Don't listen to the people around you. You've got to go and follow that. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck doing the same thing, and it's going to be Groundhog Day, day in, day out.
Definitely. That's such great advice. Nikki, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I love how easy it is to talk to you and the amazing advice that you share. So, say if somebody wanted to get on board with your incredible course, which I highly recommend, by the way, everybody jump on board with, what would be the best way to get on board and get in contact with you or to get on board with your course?
Yeah, sure thing. So probably going to the website, which is hi, and then there's a hyphen, profitmedia.com, or High Profit Media on Facebook would probably be the easiest way. Also on Instagram, High Profit Media, that's just all one word, no hyphen. And you could look at the course there. You can get in contact with me. I'm always happy to talk to people about starting their media journey and what they should be doing, because it's something that I believe every single business owner should be into. And I was watching the Gruen transfer last night on ABC. And one of the gents on there was talking about media, and he just said, there's just not enough business owners that look at the media to grow their brand and to spread their message. And I was like, yes, absolutely. Yeah, hallelujah.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to do this because it can just skyrocket your business growth so quickly. So
I was going to say there's an in to get on the Gruen transfer.
Yeah. Could be. I might have to follow that up.
But no, that's so true. I've found it quite easy getting exposure in that from Nikki's course as well. Like, it's amazing how things start transitioning and actually how easy and how many media outlets are actually looking for your story. So don't second guess yourself and don't go, oh, they won't want to hear what I have to say. Well, they will. They love to hear what people have to say. If you've got something like Nikki said is trending, is good as a good topic, and you know how to really word it and sell yourself with a great call to action, then you're going to get a great media exposure for your business and leverage off of them.
Absolutely. They're always looking for stories. Always, 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 always looking for stories. So why not yours?
Exactly. Well, Nikki, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've really loved sharing your journey and getting more of an insight into how your business started and how you can really help business owners. So thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. I loved it. Thank you. Thank you.
And guys, stay tuned next week. We've got another incredible guest who's really going to help you break through those levels in your career. So stay tuned then.